Chapter 21, House of Gaia. I'm going to call this Gaia from a few perspectives. The name Gaia came from a Greek creation myth. The myth says Gaia gave birth to the universe. She produced the first gods and first humans. In the artful country Greece, the culture believed in the beginning there was one primordial being named Chaos, which consisted of the void, mass, and seeming confusion. Out of chaos was birthed Gaia, the goddess of earth. From Gaia sprang the starry sky, god Uranus. She produced everything that is known as Earth. Gaia, producer of all first deities, was complete within herself. The Greeks thought the strongest oath on earth was to swear by Gaia, because if the oath was ever broken, there was no escaping Mother Earth. The oath was irrevocable. In relatively recent modern times, a few scientists use the word to mean the complete planet and atmosphere as a single complex organism. Most pagans believe she was and is one being with which we live upon, and that all life depends on her. Gaia is sometimes depicted as a voluptuous woman, her body buried halfway in the soil. Her main symbol is the planet Earth. Other symbols are fruit, grain, and soil. Though Gaia had no parents, unless we want to say the receding of chaos was her single parent, she birthed hundreds of children. The basic thrust of Gaia's myth is she created her first creation to be her husband. His name was Uranus, which other creation stories say that Gaia and Uranus was both born together. Nevertheless, Uranus was cruel to Gaia and his offspring. His offspring were hideous in his eyes. Depending on the myth, he locked his children inside caves. Other myths say Gaia hid their children inside herself. Uranus' cruelty to his wife and children was ceaseless, causing Gaia to speak to her children to help her subdue their cruel father. She did not ask for him to be destroyed, just subdued. The children saw how relentless he was to their mother and their siblings. The youngest child at the time, Cronus, came out of his cave to secure something sharp to wound his father enough to render him gentle and move him away from his family. It was decided a flint sickle would be the instrument of choice. Cronus approached his cruel father and castrated him. Not a morally correct decision or action. Yet we all know this myth is humans trying to convey precepts beyond all of our understanding. The Big Bang, how energies gathered, then exploded and separated or collapsed, how the sky and land came to be, using human personalities to explain vast energy planes, galactic birthing, processes of existence. So back to the myth. Uranus understood the point and quickly fled from his wife and his children. Gaia found other mates, producing many more children after this horrendous event. Once Cronus removed his father's male parts, he carried them to the churning deep sea. Then he threw them far into the great sea. When the severed organ's blood mixed with the waves' sea foam, the goddess Aphrodite was born, producing a goddess from no mother. Gaia had no parents from whom she sprang, and now Aphrodite had the blood of her father and the water of the sea. Out of Gaia's and Uranus' union, then separation, enters the goddess of love. Gaia birthed her husband Uranus and the sea called Pontus, both first male creations of Gaia with no coupling. Aphrodite was born from two fathers, Uranus and Pontus, or the sky and the sea. Some precepts have two sides. Well, actually, probably most precepts have many sides. Although Aphrodite is goddess of love, it is she that oversees the Furies, which were very angry female spirits of the underworld. Their main duty was to frighten immoral men when they misbehaved. The men called them the angry ones, and they were absolutely frightening, and they were absolutely frightened of the Furies. The guilty conscience speaks in tormenting words and snakes. From the beginning, there were deities that had a shadow side, just like us, which makes sense. Once again, it was humans that created the deity myths. So it is natural to add humans' less attractive traits, while they were adding superhuman traits. In an exceptionally unpleasant manner, Uranus fathered a daughter, goddess, through his blood, Aphrodite, who also consisted of light and shadow, side through her Furies. Humans apply human flaws onto the myths they create. They see deities through human eyes. In some artists' renderings, many show Gaia holding a key. The key essentially reveals all our growth and healing is found where we live. There is a reason why we live in a certain location. It is our key. With every location, there is found yet another key to unlock another door of knowledge, which was never hidden in the first place. The only things hidden are the things we hide from ourselves. Gaia always says, yes, the door is always open, while keeping all things open to everyone that earnestly searches and understands it is a process to receive, a process to integrate, and a process to apply what we know to our lives and sharing with others. Freely Gaia gave, and so shall we. If we keep life growing secrets to ourselves, that possibly means we are not even utilizing them for ourselves. If we apply our keys to our life, we desire to share our precepts with everyone, remembering their key is not our key. Gaia's temples are usually outside in the open air, among all of nature, so that she may speak to her children through the trees, sky, water, or stones. Gaia is known to speak to her human children through prophecy or oracle, or more often through every living thing. Gaia was worshipped in quiet, dark caves, which some say represent entering the dark womb of life, or in remembrance of what she hid her children, first children. One of the main temples originally devoted to Gaia before Apollo took over was Delphi. It was a Greek custom to place a bit of barley, honey, or cakes inside an opening in the ground to encourage growth in the coming months. Gaia's process on earth is she seeds life, maintains life, and tries to supply abundance to her children, however they see abundance. And she provides places for her children to sleep, awake, work, and play. She prunes away old growth or the unattended, then replaces with new growth or allows the living thing's space to fall into entropy. All a single cycle, a continuous regeneration from increase to decrease, then increase again. So take a shot. There is something unexpected out there this moment for you to discover on this earth, Gaia. We have all heard that old phrase, there is nothing new under the sun. This statement is completely untrue. All theory begins with earnest speculation. Conversely, there comes a time that theory moves away from speculation, and serious observational and scientific studies take place, bringing empirical evidence to the forefront. It is exciting to realize that Earth has not revealed everything. There is more to be learned for the benefit of Gaia and all who live on her. For that matter, most living things have not been discovered yet. All that are curious and have a camera device or given the grand possibility of finding something new, a new species, a plant, an animal, a mineral, and uncovered animal behaviors never seen before. The entirety of Earth is presented to every single person equally to discover her. One does not need to be a professional scientist to discover what the earth is presenting to all of us. The earth desires for her entire family to meet each other so that harmony may be apparent. We can all be earth investigators or earth caregivers or earth gardeners, never taking her for granted again. There are more undiscovered species than species that have already been discovered. To this date, there are 2 million that have been discovered. Scientists say 10 million more species are waiting to be discovered. There are also species that have lived on this planet for eons, only to die off before being discovered by humans. Just a few examples of new species discoveries for 2015 are the coral plant. I'm going to spell these out if you want to do research on them. And I'm sure there's been much more new species discovered in the last few years. But this new coral plant is spelled Balanophora, and then the second word Coralliformis. This coral plant was found in the Philippines. Then a new discovery was a frog, and the spelling is Limnonesetarbaepartus. And this frog, well, it's the only frog that gives birth to live tadpoles. Then there's this new spider, Cebrennus and Rechenbergi. And that spider turns cartwheels when running, and it's found in Morocco. Then we have from Victoria, Australia, the Xphyla. Well, let me just spell it out again. Xphyla, Dendrogamma, this particular species, it looks like a mushroom, yet actually it is a tiny animal, likely related to the jellyfish. So now with it's so easy to research new species, then get on the net and you'll see what the newest species that was discovered within this year. It's so exciting to meet these new species, even if they're just on the net. Or maybe shapes appear in nature that baffles everyone for years. And finally, those studying the sea or enjoying the sea finally have the opportunity to see who was the culprit that formed these shapes. Or by land, there's shapes that's formed that many cannot figure out how they showed up either. So either by land or sea. But an example of this is deep sea divers who would come across perfectly drawn 6-foot circles on the ocean's floor and could not understand what could be creating these circles. That is, until they discovered that it was a male pufferfish creating these remarkable rings to attract females. So isn't that normally what happens, that when you find these magical shapes, and usually there's a practical reason why they're formed. Now let's talk about medicine. So with medicine goes manifestation, and Gaia knew how manifestation works. So beauty entered this space, once void of anything under the starry skies, brilliantly lighting our dark moon nights. She freely filled the world with majesty, blue mountains, orange canyons, rainbows, moonbows, fiery sunrises, and multicolored sunsets, glorious tall trees in the nearby forest, or living in our own backyard. The most breathtaking scenery to inspire joy and awe. All this beauty is living just like us on this planet, expressing their beauty, expressing our beauty. A planet of beauty inspires us and causes us joy to well up inside our being, thus causing manifestation, all so that we may follow our joy through her beauty and ours. Through her beauty, she touches our soul as we do for her, capturing us in her rapture, which produces manifestation. And this is medicine. Gaia saw that her children experienced illness, so plants brought physical and spiritual medicine. All animals brought their spiritual medicine as well, desiring to help all animals through their teachings and pure frequencies. Trees bring forth what was said before, so they are standing recorders. All waters are her ever-present love toward her children. Then the winds step forward to move seeds and information across the land, to be seeded in another land. The spirit of the oldest wind, like fire and water, enters to prune away anything that is dead or overcrowded, making room for new growth. And now we discuss entropy. In archetypal fashion, myths speak of continuous regeneration, which is plainly seen by simple observation. Most of these processes, at first blush, do not appear to be growth, looking more like decline instead. The earth was created to nurture her children in every way. Her children are ever living thing, and everything lives. She supplies her children with clean drinking water to dissolve their thirst, both physically and spiritually, to cleanse themselves, their homes, their food, and wounds, to ride upon a watery highway, traveling from place to place. It is our responsibility to take care of the earth by taking care of the water in any way possible, by taking care of soil by any way possible, by taking care of the air any way possible. There's no denying this earth has abundance of water and vegetation in some locations, while little water and almost no vegetation are sadly found in other regions of the world. Often we hear the statistics of thousands of individuals dying from starvation and lack of water on a daily basis. You see, Gaia needs to be nurtured, not for her sake, but for all of the inhabitants on her. Gaia may be wounded, yet she will eventually heal her wounds. All plants and animals need to breathe clean, fresh air and have enough food and clean water for everyone. It is our responsibility to take care of her in any way possible, no matter how small, just so we all take part and are consistent. The long-standing debate regarding Earth and entropy has been heated. Though entropy appears to be disorder, its dissipation rate can be defined in mathematical terms. When most think of entropy, we think of decay, decline, that all living things eventually reduce to heat and are no longer viable to add any meaningful product to the universe. Now, some believe the opposite, though entropy seems to be decay as it runs through its cycle. Though it is decay. There is a possibility that in the end, the life becomes more beautiful and more productive and more dispersed across the universe. Think of entropy this way. Picture a few seeds dropped onto a barren field. Over time, a few weeds and unpleasant-looking shrubs appear. A few insects and animals start moving in as well. For many years, this place looks utterly unkept and seems to be declining. The animals and insects get to work adding to this space, which encourages other animals to move in. All the while, little plants become massive trees. Seeds become colorful wild flowers. Living things are constantly being birthed. Gaia is always adding new life. Then, over time, this once barren, decaying land transformed into a lush green forest. Our ever-changing current, knowledge, says unimaginable explosions take place so that stars may be born. For billions of years, the earth looked barren and inside entropy. However, the very opposite was taking place. Yes, I know about the second law of thermodynamics, that all energy dissipates into heat, then distributed. Yes, entropy exists. Conversely, it is not our end, nor any living thing's end. Entropy is a small portion of the entire large circle of growth, and growth means dissipation, which looks like decline. And entropy is not the ultimate end of every living thing, will eventually end. Entropy. As time goes by, the earth will tell which school of thought is correct, or more correct, or even if both are correct. It is time to return to nature, embracing all she has to offer. She has so carefully supported us. Now we must take care of her. Blessed be.